It's going back the other way.
Put on a suit. Drink water. Don't drink and drive.
Game over.
Take it light. Okay.
Now you're more fluent.
Mackinac, he's got three.
Up, Bears.
So this is really good right here. Absolutely. Let's do it.
Welcome back to Texas Rangers with the Boys. We are the Boys, your daily Texas Rangers podcast by a couple of pro wrestlers who love Rangers baseball. Hey, we want to thank you for making us the first listen of your day. This is your boy Kev, YBK, your boy Kev, aka YBK. A little confused right now about why that 0-2 strike to Nolan Shanuel here in the bottom of the seventh inning was not strike three. Threw me off just a little bit and messed up my intro. But, hey, we're out here. We got the game going on live here at the Angels versus the Rangers. It's in the vaunted bottom of the seventh inning. Jose Urena is out there with 2-2 to Shanuel, and I think Bull is ahead of me by a couple of minutes. His facial expressions, I'm trying to read them. I don't know what's going on, but I'm about to find out. But, the Rangers are in that seventh inning, and we're here to talk Texas Rangers baseball in the midst of that seventh inning, and we're going to see what comes of this game. We'll have a final for you by the time the show is over, we hope. Now, don't forget to check us out on social media, TX Rangers WTV. Don't forget to check out that website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
Oh, one word.
You can also check out our exclusive content down on the farm with the boys. We cover all things Rangers minor league on that website. Also, don't forget to check us out right here on the Sports Fluent Network on YouTube. Go search Texas Rangers with the Boys, and we will pop right up. Hit that subscribe button on Sports Fluent Network, and you can get the made-for-radio faces of Texas Rangers with the Boys. Yeah, lots of hair on this channel these days. And hey, joining me as always, my co-host, 300-pound Manimal, aka Bull. How you doing, buddy? Where can they find you on social? Matt Warbrough.
Well, I'd have been doing better if Urena would have got through that right there and they didn't have to go to Robertson in a hold situation. But you know what? 9 runs on the board so far. They've got a couple more sticks left here. We'll talk about it as they go through. We may not even have to talk about it. It may just be quick 8th and 9th, but who knows? Let's see if Robertson can get this last out in the 7th, and then the Rangers can venture back into that bullpen and try and navigate things without having to use Kirby Yates. But we'll see what happens. So far, so good tonight in the Rangers game. Real quick before we get started, I got to tell you that on the Instagram, it's Manimal300, Twitter, Manimal Bull, and both Facebook and TikTok at Bull Pro. We've been trying to do more little clippets from the show lately on the TikTok. But you know, we're slowly getting back into the algorithm.
The TikTok.
Yeah, on the TikTok, yes. Chinese owned TikTok, right?
Well, hey, can't complain about that. What's going? I feel like there's something that's happening on July 27th.
Is there a wrestling show that I'm supposed to talk about? July 26th. July 26th. It's a Friday. They're gonna show up at the Southside Preservation Hall with a wrestling ring. A bunch of people are gonna gather, and we're gonna have a really good time. So if you want to be a part of that, come on out, Southside Preservation Hall, Friday, July 26th. You're gonna see wrestling action. It's gonna be there's a title match. There's a mixed tag match. There's a women's match. There's going to be a tag match with at least 1,000 pounds of man in the ring. So lots of stuff going on. You should come check it out. As always, Kelly's Onion Burgers will be out back, flipping burgers, making fries, smashing them down, putting onions in those things. And we're going to eat as many of them as I can get for free. Starry's Ice Cream will be there. She's always got the greatest dessert treats. If we're eating them in January, we're going to definitely want to have them in July. And our buddies over at Martin House Brewing, they're going to be there with all the beer you can drink if you can prove that you're 21 years of age or older. So come on out Friday, July 26th, to the Southside Preservation Hall for the Matt
Ultraviolet.
Moore Pro Ultraviolet Dreamers. It's a hypothermia mania.
Hypothermia mania. Hey, this Rangers front office, and I'm going to go as far as say even the coaching staff ain't playing around right now. Like they ain't playing. Like there's some kind of something going on within the organization because look, nobody is safe because Rangers send down or DFA take off their 40-man roster, one of their top young bullpen pitching prospects in Antoine Kelly to bring up Daniel Robert, and then Grant Anderson goes back down. He can only come back up one more time before he's going to be DFA'd if he goes back down to the minor leagues again.
Well,
so I think the news is the news. Okay, great. But I think the talking point for you or for me to kick it over to you is like, man, like wow, like that's a big move right there.
Well, Daniel Robert had been pitching well at AAA. I didn't know that it was going to come this fast. I didn't realize that, he was next on that pecking order. But I guess when you look at things and you look at how poorly Antoine Kelly has pitched this year at AAA, getting demoted down to Frisco a couple of weeks ago, maybe a week ago, something like that. A near 10 ERA in the time that he's pitched this year. It's just one of those things with that big strikeout right there from David Robertson to clear them bases and get the Rangers out of that vaunted 7 where they only give up 1 run today. Good job from Urena to get that double play there to get 2 outs after a really kind of rough sequence there with a couple of little base hits. But anyways, back to Antoine Kelly. He just really hasn't been the guy, it was this time last year where he actually started kind of pitching well. You love what you see from him. He's a big 6'5", 225-pound lefty that's got gas, that has a good slider, that has the 2 pitches that he needs to get guys out in the big leagues, and it hasn't come at the minor league level. And Daniel Robert, he's pitched well enough. He's a fastball slider. I think he might throw a split or 2, but I don't think he's thrown it a ton this year. But he's a guy that's performed at the AAA level, and the Rangers are in need of guys that have performed. And whether it be Daniel Robert, we saw it with Derek Hill. Now Derek Hill has kind of cooled a tad bit since that second call up, but at the same time, he's put himself in a position to get at bats on some nights. And, especially against lefties and not turning Tavares around and hitting right-handed when he's going so well at the plate from the left-hand side. So anyways, back to what the topic at hand, Grant Anderson, he goes down. Grant Anderson, he's one of those guys that he kind of up and down. He's going to probably be that way as long as he has options, especially even if it's not here with Texas, right? As long as he's got options, he's going to be one of those guys that you use him every year probably, because he's not exactly a major league pitcher, but he is gimmicky enough to keep the ball on the ground in certain occasions, and he can throw innings in mop-up duty if that's the case as well. But with what you were saying, if Grant Anderson is optioned back to the minor leagues, or brought back up to the big leagues again this year, he's going to have to stay with the club the rest of the year, or he will be not DFA'd, but he'll have to clear waivers to go back to AAA. So the intention will probably never be that the Rangers are DFAing him unless they bring him back up and they get into a situation where they need that 40-man spot. Because at this moment right now, I would say Garrett or Grant Anderson is probably the 38th or 39th guy on that 40-man. So, that's kind of where they're at a little bit right now with Grant Anderson. Kelly, again, after being dropped down, I think that someone will give him an opportunity and put him on their 40-man because of the the 6'5", 225, big left-hand arm that throws near 100, has a slider. So we'll see what happens. But after that demotion to Double-A, I don't know if there's anybody that's going to put him on their 40-man, and he may be the type of guy that could clear, but I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think that he probably is going to end up being traded. That would be my guess.
That actually being the actual outcome, because I think he's actually going to become kind of and again, a commodity might be a strong word, but somebody that people are interested in, and somebody's going to want to get him without letting somebody else get their hands on him. So again, that would put the Rangers in a nice spot. Maybe some more international money. I don't know if that's something that might, or he might bring back something a little better. Who knows? But
yeah, and either way, I mean, at this point, if he does bring a return, good. If he clears, good as well, because then you can just outright him to Double-A Frisco and see if you can get him back right.
Yeah, and if you can get him back right, he'll be up with the big squad if he starts moving in the right direction, because they need guys like him. Like, he was a guy we really felt like we were kind of hoping we could.
They kind of found something, yeah. Well, Hopefully they had found something in him, and I don't know if they have or not. I would say that at this point right now, I don't imagine Antoine Kelly pitching in a Rangers uniform.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's probably going to be the case, just because of the dynamics of the way, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't seem like he's not enough talent. He has enough talent that there's going to be plenty of teams that are going, hey, we can figure something out with this guy. And
and turn him into a viable piece out of the back end of the bullpen somewhere, because he's got a cannon. Now it's just about figuring out how to get outs in the big leagues, and
we'll get outs in the minor leagues. I mean,
just get outs in general, right? Just figure out how to get outs, and the same thing. And we'll see Daniel Robert. I don't know. I think if the Rangers keep it at 9-4, we might see him in this second in one of these last two innings tonight here. So we'll be able to kind of talk about that a little bit more as we see him. So we'll see. We'll see if we do or not. But for right now, it's David Robertson's game. Will he come back out in a 5-run game? I don't know.
So more Rangers news. So a couple of minor league players make player of the week. So Cam Cauley and Braylon Morrell, 2 weeks in a row for Morrell, both are players of the week at their respective minor league levels.
I like that Barron's pretty stoked for Braylon Morrell, because he's gonna be a mover on that top 40 list here coming up in the next couple of weeks. When we do that on the Down on the Farm show, he's going to probably be a pretty high mover, just because he's one of those few hitting prospects that has stepped in the right direction. So looking forward to that, putting the rankings together. That's always one of the funner things that we do. Cam Cauley, he had a terrible start to the season this year, but I think he's just too good of a player to be held down for too terribly long.
Well, that's a little. I mean, terrible is a little bit of like a little misleading, because he had a great MLB camp, and then
he did,
the minors, and then that was when he did. I mean, he just hasn't.
And he got hurt. He had an injury there early in the year, and that probably led to some of the struggle early on. But once he's got it going here, he's been playing pretty well lately. And last week, Cam Cauley, who he's a really fringe shortstop, maybe a second baseman. He probably could be a utility player at the big league level when the Rangers get to that point where they got to make some decisions. But that's still probably a couple years away for sure. I wouldn't be shocked if he gets an opportunity to play at Frisco here at some point this season. And I wouldn't be shocked if Morrell heads out to down east at some point here coming up pretty soon, because he's kind of dominated that Arizona Complex League between him and Yeremy Cabrera. The Rangers have a couple of guys at the complex that are just smashing baseballs.
Yeah, a lot of guys hitting balls like crazy at that level. Looks like Rangers going into the bottom of the
Bottom
eighth.
half of 8, yeah. They had a couple of runners on there. Corey Seager grounds into a double play, but we're gonna let that slide after 6 total bases today and a 2-run home run.
Yeah, excuse me. Of all the times for you to get quiet, it has to happen right when I'm doing the only yawn I've done.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that's the greatest time for it to happen, and I'm thankful that I could be here and to help you with that.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, and when just talking about the Rangers, like their minor leagues haven't had a ton of guys hitting the ball, just knocking the cover off the ball, really at any level. So to see somebody doing it, when you're talking about Morrell and really with Collie, I think he is definitely one of those kind of multi utility kind of guys that
yeah, I feel like he's versatile enough to where if you needed him to play some outfield too, that he could probably play the corners. He kind of seems like he's a ball player too. He's not exactly the flashiest guy or anything like that, but he kind of gives off that feel of that like lunch pail guy that comes and works hard and makes sure that he puts his work in and gets the absolute most out of the talent that he has.
Rangers had a guy like that a couple of years ago. Isaiah Kiner Falefa kind of had that kind of lunch pail, do whatever, can do kind of anything kind of guy. He's around the major leagues pretty good.
And he was this week after All-Star selections were made, they kind of talked about him being one of the snubs and a guy that probably should have made it over Marcus Semien.
Wow. Well, hey, look, I haven't watched IKF a lot this year.
No, I haven't seen any of it. I couldn't tell you what he's doing in Toronto.
No, and in all fairness, like he is definitely a good fielder. But the stuff I've seen from Marcus Semien at second base this year is,
yeah, 14 outs.
Incredible plays I've seen a second baseman make. Really, maybe ever. When the Rangers haven't had a huge, like a laundry list of second basemen throughout their team. I know Michael Young was probably would go down.
And he was there really for 4 years before he moved to set a shortstop. And I thought it was funny today when I saw that Marcus Semien's 2 All-Star appearances at second base had been like it's like third most or fourth most in Rangers history. And like Michael Young wasn't on the list. I was like, Michael Young never made an All-Star game as a second baseman, and he didn't. He was a shortstop at the point where he had made the All-Star game, so that would have been post A-Rod, so probably 2004 would have been the first year. Kinsler was a good second baseman, but I don't ever think that he was outs above replacement defensive run save mastermind like Marcus Semien has been. I mean, the Rangers always had kind of either hitters or fringe major leaguers at second base when I was a kid, whether it be like Julio Franco he was in there to hit the ball, and then you talk about your Jeff Fries and guys like that were fringy Major League Baseball players that could hit for average and so
weren't strong weren't necessarily like your Gold Glove caliber kind of guys for sure. And then as far as like all-stars go, like if I were to just name them, I'm thinking like Julio Franco, Ian Kinsler, Michael Young.
Soriano is because he was here 2 years and was an all-star both years that he was here. So I
That's
guess
fair.
you kind of gotta I mean, 2 all-star games in 2 years or whatever. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of shocking to me that Michael Young had never been a second baseman in the all-star game. I felt like he was so much better at second base than he was at short. But he won a Gold Glove over there and ended up having a really nice run at shortstop before Elvis came up.
So if you want to come to a show where we ramble on, let's do one. Come to a show where we're actually watching a game, because half of our attention is on the podcast. The other half is holding our breath through the 7th inning and then holding our breath through Jose Leclerc here in the 8th. But
Who has looked pretty good so far.
every
I would
time.
say.
You say that every time, no
Let's
matter
see what happens. Let's see
Every
what
time, no
happens.
matter what. Every time.
He's got 2 strikes and 2 outs here in the 8th inning. So things are looking good, but you never know. You never knew.
You know what else is
Kevin
looking
is
good?
praying for right now. Kevin is actually praying for Jose Leclerc to hit this guy with a slider or something that got away from him. Just so he can.
Just to change subjects real quick, just a couple days ago, we did our Down on the Farm with the Boys, where we cover all things Rangers minor league. We talked about a ton of players around the Rangers minor league system, the top 10 list, as we call it, where we basically go from the Dominican Summer League all the way to AAA Round Rock. We talk about the entire minor leagues, and man, it was loaded with content. Now, upcoming this next week, because the MLB draft is coming up and the Rangers do have draft picks, we'll talk a little bit. We mentioned a couple of draft picks last week. We'll talk a little bit about the draft next week as well. But right now, it's up, it's live, and I'm telling you, there's a ton of content on there. And again, we brought up Braylon Morrell, we brought up Cam Cauley. We talked about both of those guys and so much more. Yeremy Cabrera, all these guys we brought up, we talked about them. And if you want to know more about this organization, you want to know who these guys are, what the future looks like for this team, go to our website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
Yeah, that's all one word.
Or you can check out our Spotify page and subscribe to our exclusive content. It's just $1.99 a month. Make us your one-stop shop for all things Rangers minor league. I'm telling you, it's worth every penny to do so, and I guarantee you won't regret it. You will know more about these Rangers. You'll be the person at lunch during work that people come up and be like, ask you Texas Rangers stuff. So what have the Rangers been doing lately? They're going to be like, that's going to be you. So we're here to help you do that. I feel like are we both score checking right now to see if anything else, because I don't think any of the other American League West teams are playing.
No one else is playing in the American League West today at all. So the Rangers will collect a half game, and then they'll be on Thursday. They'll have an off day where Seattle and Houston both play. So their fate from tonight will be sealed by what those two teams do on Thursday afternoon.
Yeah, you know who else has found their way back to 500 up just recently? Arizona Diamondbacks have been playing some really good baseball as of late. Very much a similar story this year as the Rangers. Didn't have quite the repeat performance that they had hoped, and they kind of reloaded a little bit this year. They just actually scored a run to tie it up here in the bottom of the 10th with the Braves.
They're scoring like 7 runs a game since June 30th. I saw that graphic on the Rangers game earlier. Leclerc gets through there with a strikeout or whatever it was to get out of that inning. So we're going to the 9th here, and the Rangers got 3, 4, 5. So the heart of the order right here with Smith, Langford, and Garcia. And it's been a pretty good night for everybody so far at the plate. Even Jankowski's got an offer, but he did get hit by a pitch. He also reached on an error. That was a nice hit by pitch too. He didn't even move,
He
flinch,
just like looked at
nothing.
it. He
It
just
was
looked at
like,
it. Well, hey, we might as well talk about this game and really just kind of get into it a little bit. We don't have a wrap just yet, but like you said, I mean, I feel like Wyatt Langford is must-see baseball right now.
yeah,
I mean, every time he comes up to the plate, I
he's
kind
as
of get
fun
it.
as anybody in baseball right now. I mean, watching, looking, whatever
Anybody,
the case may be. Yeah,
anybody.
playing defense, running the bases, whatever the case may be. Whether I mean, remember just last week that cycle he had was all speed induced. It was a speed induced cycle. He had 4 hits yesterday. Apparently, Sunday is becoming his day of massacre
Yeah,
whenever it comes to it. But he had a big home run tonight. He also had a double to get that 5-run inning started. He doubles down the left field line, and the Rangers just take off from there. I mean, you got Garcia singles into left. You get the balk behind that, where they almost like didn't call that a balk. Like it was like Bochy had to come out of the dugout for that to be called a balk. I mean, so I don't know. It was like they weren't going to call it a balk, and then the second base umpire was like, "No, hey, I think we have to call this a balk."
yeah. Bochy, they're like,
Um,
hey, Bochy's coming out here, guys. We
and
got
it
it.
wouldn't have mattered anyways. Nate Lowe gets a base knock up the middle that scores Garcia now from moving up to second. Heim, the only guy with an O for today, but after a 4 for 5 yesterday, and he was hitting the ball pretty good
He
today.
had 3 hits the day before that, didn't he? Or he had a 3-hit game and then a 4.
Yeah, I think he had 7 hits over the course, or 7 hits at least in that series against Tampa Bay, something like that. Jankowski, I can't remember what he did right there. If that was where he got hit in the foot and then Tavares singled behind it. I can't remember. I'm not 100% sure, but the Rangers end up. Tavares steals a big base there in the 5th inning that adds to it because Simeon singles right behind it. Simeon a nice day today because he's been struggling pretty good, and he had a 2 for 4 with a couple RBIs. He walked. He actually took a pretty good pitch on the 3-2 count that it might have nipped the corner, but man, that's a tough one to hit and do anything with. He probably had a better chance of trying to stick his bat nub out there and do something with that. But yeah, overall, just another night where the Rangers are hitting the ball well. They're striking the ball. You're getting high velocity off the barrel, and man, good things happen when that happens, and good things have been happening for the Rangers the last handful of games, and because the bats have come alive and they're hitting the ball with exit velocity, and I mean, just right now the Rangers are in a spot where you're thinking, hey, we're feeling good about this thing. I know it's the Angels. I know the Angels are struggling a little bit, but a week ago they were coming off of a 6-game win streak. So,
Well, a week ago, we'd have took a win against anybody.
anybody, yeah, we
We'd
would have
have
taken
took
a win
anything.
against anybody through basically the whole month of June.
Yeah, we'd have took
So,
it from anybody because we were one of the worst teams in the league during that stretch. So like, you can't say that win is not a win. How about Wyatt Langford in July, hitting 381 with a 480 on base and a 476 slug?
yeah, both
That's
those
not
numbers
counting
have come
today.
up, and those are going to come up again tonight because he's got 6 total bases and 2 base hits. He's up 273 with the batting average and 752 with the on base on base plus slug for the season. So he's rapidly approaching an all-star caliber like player. I mean, because
And
once
both
he
of
gets
those hits
that,
well above 100 miles an hour. 109 on the homer, and then 112, I think, on the single. That single was just was a. I mean, that
it
thing
was a double down the line. It was smacked
double. You're
down
right.
the
He
line, yeah.
smashed that
So
thing.
you got extra slug there for the double. You've got extra base hits. You've got the 2 extra base hits or the 2 doubles, and then you've got the 2 home runs. So you got 4 extra base hits. They're all from Seager and Langford. But as of right now, I mean, there we got a little nubber out in front of the plate, but it rolls foul. That was one thing I miss about Steve Busby. Remember when he used to call games? He would call everything a nubber, like everything. Like I
No
miss
matter what, it was a nubber.
Fisted and nubber and
Hey,
all
good to
those
see
fun.
Josh Spores out there, man. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Also good to see him clean shaven.
good numbers, or no numbers. Good to see Josh Spores out there getting some pitching. Now, John Gray, I mean, man, he was about as good as it gets up until the last he had 3 starts this year. I feel like that have just been terrible, and then everything else has been great. Any concerns about John Gray?
His fastball is it's ranked as the worst pitch in Major League Baseball, which is crazy because it's not a bad fastball, but location seems to get him in trouble with that fastball. There were a lot of hard hit balls today.
Like
The
4 in a row.
the Angels pieced together a handful of hits there in the second inning to get back in the game or whatever, and then to get take the lead there early in the game, and then he had a handful of hard hit balls right at Josh Smith. Remember Josh Smith, trying to drop that ball out of his glove or whatever to turn 2. Nothing wrong with trying, right?
Well, and then the next one that gets hit to him again, and then he plays it off a little bit, like acts like the other one never happened, and then the ump is not going to let him get away with it.
Nah, we can't let you have that.
The ump or Seager, somebody was jawing with him a little bit, giving him a hard time. So we got bottom of the 9th, 2 outs. We got Spores out there, and we got the number 9.
Guillerme, and he struggled tonight a little bit. And Rangers pitching, man, it's been pretty good tonight. John Gray, some hard hit balls, but when they're right at people, that all it is an out in the score box or in the box score. And John Gray, I would actually, at this point right now, I would almost prefer John Gray being like the 7th inning guy because he's got a good fastball. He's got, and we could be closer to that than you think because Heaney's been so good out of the bullpen as a starter and can continue to do that. As your 5th starter, even when Molly or DeGrom or whoever can make it back from that Tommy John surgery. And, we're going to start seeing that in the next couple of weeks. But overall, it wasn't awful from John Gray today. But, yeah, there were some balls that were hit pretty hard. Robertson came in, cleaned up that little bit of mess in the 7th. But overall, Urena's still pretty good. He's hitting 2.78 ERA here in June. I didn't exactly expect that. There's some real bite on that curveball from Spores right there. Robertson cleans it up with a strikeout. Real good knuckle curve there to get him out of that 7th inning. And
there it is.
Probably one of the better innings we've seen from Jose Leclerc in a while. And the Rangers get through here with a 9-4 win, and that's 22 runs in the last couple of days. And we're starting to feel good about the offense, and hopefully, we can piece together a winning series here with Anaheim and head back home to Houston or head back home to Texas and go down to Houston and clean up that tornado mess for them.
Handle some business in Houston
or hurricane mess.
If the Rangers bullpen, if we can figure out a way to get 6th and 7th inning, I think we're in pretty good hands with the guys that we got in 8-9. If the offense keeps going in the direction that it's going, I think there's not much. It's really just a matter of time now at this point before we're looking at seeing this team get back to what we're hoping.
What we were expecting. Let's be real honest. Expecting. Not hoping, even if there was a downtick, we could have never imagined it would have been what we saw in those first couple of months from the Rangers.
Not at all. Not at all.
To clean this whole thing up, John Gray gets the win. That pulls him even to 4-4 on the season. ERA sitting just one tick ahead above 4 at 4.01. And Davis Daniel takes the loss. He's now 1-2 with a 5.82 ERA. The Rangers moved to 43 and 48, so they're just a handful of games now under 500, and that pulls them within 5.5 in the division. So the Rangers are sitting 5.5 with one in hand. So they'll have a second game back in hand after Thursday too. So, not the end of the world. We're sitting about, where we hoped. It wasn't the way that we thought they were going to get there, but that's where we're at. And they had they do it again tomorrow, same time, same place, same probably same channel because Bally's is going to have it. And Max Scherzer getting the ball for the Rangers, and he's 1-2 with a 2.70 ERA, and he'll be opposed by Angels starter Ronze Contreras, who is 1-1, 23 games. So I imagine that not all of those have been starts. So he's worked some out of the bullpen, just a tick over 4 himself on the ERA, and 32 strikeouts in 35 innings, and he's averaging about a runner and a half per inning on that 1.46 whip. So they'll get that thing going tomorrow at 8:38 from the Big A, and the Rangers look to capitalize on or continue some of that success at the plate tomorrow against Ronze Contreras.
Ronze Contreras.
No, there's no A. I just kind of threw that in there with like some extra flair. So Ronze Contreras.
Ronze Contreras. Awesome. Well, hey, been a blast. Good time talking Rangers. We'll do it again on Thursday. We'll be off tomorrow, and we'll have the Angels series wrap.
Oh yeah, since we are off tomorrow, let me also let you know that Wednesday, Michael Lorenzen going for the Rangers, and Ranger killer Griffin Canning going for the Angels. So they'll have their hands full because that guy always seems to give them trouble. So we'll hopefully Michael Lorenzen can keep him in that thing and give him a chance to win there as well. So the Rangers got 2 horses going these next couple of days, and they look to push into Houston strong.
Yeah, I think the Rangers definitely need to handle their business. I mean, there's no room for error right now with this stuff.
And I feel like you're also starting to see a sense of urgency that you haven't seen all season long from Seager, Simeon, Lowe, Heim, the guys that know what it takes to win in the big leagues and know how to win a championship. You're finally starting to see that sense of urgency from those guys. And, that's only going to carry over to the rotation because they've been so good this year. Yeah, having a little bit of how nice was it to watch Jose Leclerc with a 5-run lead instead of a 1-run lead?
Well, it's a whole lot less nerve-wracking. So, hey, thanks everybody for tuning in. It's been a blast. Tuesday, we'll catch back up with you guys on Thursday. Like I said, we'll have a series wrap for the Angels series, and then we'll also have a preview for the big Houston series to end the first half for the Texas Rangers going into that all-star break. Let's just hope we're going in the way that we need to. Don't forget to check us out on social media, TX Rangers WTB. Don't forget to check that website, TexasRangersWithTheBoys.com.
All one word. There's one win of those 5 they need this week.
That's it. They got 1 down, 4 to go. Also, don't forget to check out our exclusive content down on the Farm with the Boys. We cover all things Rangers, minor league. Don't forget to check it out on Spotify. Fantastic. Also, don't forget to check us out right here on the Sports Fluent Network. On YouTube, go just search out Texas Rangers with the Boys, and you can see all of Bull's minor league hats that he has to offer
down east.
Wood Ducks today. So,
this one also has a sweet Bruiser Brody pin on it too.
Is your hair pulled back? Is that you got it in a man bun right now?
No, of course not. I'm a man.
Check. Okay.
But,
Just checking.
Never.
I saw a man bun one day. I saw it in there.
Oh, absolutely not. That's never happened in my entire life.
I will be videoing it the next time I see it. So
you'll never see it.
For the 300-pound manimal, this is your boy Kev. We are Texas Rangers with the boys. And guess what? We're signing out.